The Chancellor's spring statement looms in a few short days, and she appears to have few great choices. The economic growth Labour promised hasn't yet materialised, and she needs to find money from somewhere to fix the NHS services they campaigned on, and to increase defence spending. Add to that a tricky relationship with a chainsaw-wielding, tariff-loving Trump administration. The Chancellor's latest strategy is to hack away at her own government spending, with 15% cuts to the civil service.
The size of the state rose significantly during the pandemic. That was the right thing to do in the national emergency that we faced. But those numbers have not come down since the pandemic. And so we're going to be redirecting resources. So we're spending on the front line, delivering those appointments in the health service, delivering those police on the front line, rather than spending on back office bureaucracy.
Reeves has refused to change her fiscal rules, which would allow for more spending. Has already raised taxes, which many say is hampering British business. And last week, Labour introduced controversial cuts to disability benefits, which caused huge upset on its backbenchers. The Tories say the Chancellor is in a panic.
They came into office pussyfooted around this whole idea of reform because it was deeply divisive within their own party. And then when the Chancellor turned around later in the day and said, I need some money because we run out of it, then they ran around and found levers to pull. And when you do that, you don't get the level of savings that you could have got, so they should have gone further on the savings side, but you also introduce a lot of hard edges, I think, for people, some of whom will be very vulnerable and impacted by what they're doing.
9 months ago, Sir Keir Starmer promised to rebuild the country, but many on the left want Labour to be bolder still.
There are criticisms from the left and the right. What do you think this Labour government should do?
When it comes to the next fiscal year in the autumn, if the government is still in this position, if the environment has deteriorated further, the Resolution Foundation would really encourage the government to put tax rises back on the table, which enable this burden to be spread more evenly across the population, and also will enable the benefits to go to public services, which is kind of a core part of the government's missions.
The mission has had something of a truck driven through it, though, with America's new protectionist president tearing up the existing world order, and huge consequences from trade to global security. The Lib Dems at their spring conference, uncharacteristically bullish.
And as others have done, we should hit back with tariffs of our own, starting with those Teslas Trump is so desperate to sell.
The Chancellor will be searching keenly for any green shoots as she unveils the spring statement on Wednesday. It is all about balancing the nation's books while balancing relationships, domestically and abroad.